Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 15. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, we're still at this shamble of an event, and Dorit brings out a birthday cake for Kyle. Another year to stir up mess. Happy birthday. Moving forward. Outside, PK is over there sounding like a scammer, telling them about the crypto real estate agency he's opening or whatever it is, child. I was like, sir, what? I was like, what are you talking about? Rina is inside talking to the ladies and thanking them for being there for her. She was like, yeah, you know, the conversation with Sutton, it just triggered it. Sutton really triggered it. All right, Rina. Rina's like, you know, there's deeper stuff going on. So Kyle is like, what is deeper going on? So Garecelle looked to the other guests and she's like, you guys can go. Child, they've witnessed everything else. Might as well keep the party going. But I do agree that you should tell them that they could go ahead and leave, honey, because they're not in the middle of this mess. And it's mess happening left and right, right and left. Y'all screaming all over tables and whatnot. So just dismiss the rest of the guests. So they get up and leave. And Crystal says, you know, she wanted to talk about her ED. And she tells them, you know, that people think that she hasn't seen anyone, but she actually has seen different people. And she's on the journey to actually healing herself. Here go Erika in the confessional. She needs to just, you know, get some help. Get it done. Be done with it. If only it were that easy. If she could just be done with it, she'd be done with it. Erika, shut up. Oh my gosh. So Garecelle said, okay, now that we gotten that out of the way, does anyone else have anything else to say? So Sutton said, well, I didn't like being called a liability. Oh, child. Well, here we go. She's like, you know, I want to talk about who is a liability, though. I got a call by an attorney about Tom and Erika's lawsuit. Kyle's like, for what? What did they say? She was like, well, you know, they just said that they thought that I had information. So she was like, I got a letter from an attorney. I'm not doing anything with that. I'm not witnessing nothing. I'm not calling nobody. I'm not doing nothing with it. I'm not going to Chicago. I mean, Chicago's a lovely town and whatnot, but honey, I will not be there. I will be in Beverly Hills. So she was like, you know, it didn't turn into a subpoena because I hired a litigator to answer questions. When I tell y'all, I know Erika Jayne's blood is boiling. Honey, that blood is boiling. So Sutton said, you know, attorneys aren't cheap. This is what she's saying in her confessional. And you know who knows that? The Girardis. Honey, they definitely know that. So Erika goes, I know what they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you what you said. And so they flash back to the reunion, right? And she's like, you said this, okay? They're going to ask you, what was it? Okay, Erika, pipe down. So Sutton is like, you know, what I learned, you guys, is that Erika Jayne has a lot of lawsuits. So that's why you're a liability and not me. You tell her, Sutton. Oh, child. So she was like, well, I told you to be quiet. Sutton said, no, you didn't. She said, yes, I told you to be quiet. So they flash back to the infamous dinner that I like to repeat. Or what? Or what? Shout out to Erika Jayne. So they flash back to that dinner. And she's like, yeah, I told you to be quiet. So here go Dorit. Do you think that they came after you and no one else in the group because you questioned Erika? Dorit, shut up. Have you caught those courteous robbers yet? Oh, no? Okay, well, girl, sit quiet. So Garecelle was like, she wasn't the only one. She wasn't. So then they flash back to Garecelle asking questions. Dorit is questioning about the victims. So is Kyle. So it was all of you heifers. It was not just Sutton. But you want to know what? Sutton was the most vocal and she had the most sense. So, hey, they already know Sutton is going to go against Erika. So they want her to be on the side that they're on. So, of course, they will contact Sutton. So she's like, I'm not being her bodyguard, just so we're clear, honey, because Garecelle got to let the heifers know. I'm just saying it wasn't just her. All these heifers ask questions. That's just point blank in the period. So then out of nowhere, Diana Jenkins, she chimes in. She's like, out of all the people, you're the most guarded. And say, what? What are you even talking about? Garecelle is trying to figure out how it even got over to her. She's like, girl, how did you start talking to me? She's like, didn't it start with you? Well, of course she can't stand Garecelle because she can't stand Sutton. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So Garecelle is like, well, what do you want to know? Okay, girl, what do you want to know? She's like, I really like you, but, to get your friendship, I had to work extra hard. Ma'am, you're looking for a moment, okay? You are looking for a moment. You need to pipe down. This is irrelevant to the conversation that is being had. This is about Erika Scammer Jane. This is about Erika Liability Jane, not Diana Jenkins, okay? You just want some attention, so please sit quiet. So Garecelle said, well, we talked at your Christmas party, and we talked about it, so you can't say that I shut you down because I didn't, because I was open when we talked then. So she's like, well, I haven't seen you since. Garecelle said, well, I haven't seen you since. Child, let's move on. She wants you to grovel at her feet, honey, because she got a few coins that she got from the wrong side of the tracks, allegedly. And that's what this is. All the other women kiss her behind because she can buy a Cartier ring that's the amount of someone's small home in the Midwest. So I don't want to hear anything else that Diana Jenkins has to say, because quite frankly, she ain't saying nothing. Okay? Find something else to do, little lizard. Moving forward. So Garecelle is like, well, when did she try to get to know me? This is what she said in her confessional. Baby, this was good to me. Garecelle said, when did she try to get to know me? You trashed me in a group text. You came to my birthday party, acted like a raging bitch. Okay? Google me if you want to get to know me. Google me. Period. Baby, period. And that's on my IMDb, honey. Period. Google me. I know that's right, Garecelle. So Rina gonna say, did you hear her? Girl, we don't give a damn what DJ is talking about. Did you hear her? And who the hell is she? Let's all bow down to her. Rina, get lost. So Garecelle kind of scoffs at it. She starts to laugh. Her and Kathy, they start laughing. Honey, I was laughing too, because what? Did you hear her? Girl, I don't care nothing about her. Child, please. She's like, do you see what she's saying? She said, do you see it, Rina? Do you hear it? She's like, she's in pain. She's hurt. Child, that woman don't bit more care about Garecelle than the man in the moon. Rina, please be quiet. Oh, child, the way that this franchise can really get under my skin, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. Child, this is a mess. She does not care about Garecelle, and she never will care about him. She's like, I just want to know you differently. I just want to know. I'm sure you do. A way to get the heat off your girl, Erika. And y'all ain't fooling me, honey. I see what y'all doing. All of a sudden, y'all start focusing in on Garecelle for absolutely no reason. We were talking about Erika and her lawsuits. Let's talk about Erika and her lawsuits. But see what y'all did is y'all got together and y'all decided that anybody that should bring up Erika Jane's lawsuits this season, we will try to distract them. Let's talk about anything else. The weather, the shoes, my Birkin. And y'all ain't fooling me, honey. You heifers are transparent, honey. I see through you. We see each other. Moving forward. So after Diana said she wanted to know Garecelle differently, Garecelle said, I would too. How do you feel about that, Rina? She's like, yeah, but why did you say it like that? She said, because you said it like that to me. Why didn't you say, do you hear Garecelle? Why didn't you say that? Rina said, because you're being defensive and I don't hear her being defensive. Well, ma'am, when someone accuses you of being guarded out of the blue and you just talk to them, you tend to defend yourself. She's like, why am I defensive? Why are you calling me defensive? Because you're not a rich Caucasian woman. You're black, Garecelle. And that's just that on that. And that's my opinion of that. Moving forward. So Rina's like, I don't know. Why? Garecelle said, I don't know. You tell me since you know so much. Rina's like, you know what? It's fear. Girl, cut it. Quiet on the set. Rina, you just say any old thing. I liked it better when you were silent. Honey, it's amazing to me, okay, y'all, that every episode they alternate between Garecelle and Sutton with this BS. I cannot stand them. This is just so one-sided. So she's like, fearful of what? She's like, that's something you have to ask yourself. The way that they like to gaslight Garecelle and manipulate her into thoughts that she's not even having and feelings that she's not even feeling. It's just, I don't even know how to describe it. The way that I would have dismissed myself from that table, I would have gotten right on up. Honey, I'm not about to play this game with you, Rina, okay? Because I already know what you're trying to do and it ain't gonna work. I'm leaving. Child, I would have gotten right on up. She's like, when the conversation comes from love, we don't get defensive. When have you ever come from love, Rina? This scene is too long, honey. This scene is too long for me. Rina is speaking entirely too much, and I'm ready to move forward, child. So Garecelle is like, you're talking about love when it comes to me? You? That's BS. Here go Kyle. in her confessional. I don't think we should say come from love when Rina, you literally just yelled at Sutton practically across the table. So, I mean, you need to practice what you preach. Yeah, Kyle, you saying that in the confessional, honey, but you ain't gonna say it to her face, so I really don't care what you're talking about. Moving forward. So Garecelle wants them to just say once that she's right. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Shout out to En Vogue. Garecelle, they will never say that you are right, ever. Okay? Just so we're clear, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. I can tell you why, but they won't. Okay, and I'm not even going to tell you why. They're never going to say that you're right. So here you go, Kyle. I don't know what just happened, but I agree with Garecelle. Anywho, bye to all of y'all, honey. Bye. You're never getting their validation or their support, yet here you are. In the next scene, Crystal and Rob, they're at home having some wine, and so he asks how last night was for her, and she's telling him about how Sutton saying the girls were talking about her, her eating disorder kind of triggered her. He wants to know, why they're talking about it. He was like, why are they talking about it? She said, because of the Instagram post that I posted. He said, even I was shocked that you posted that because you're normally very, to yourself and you keep everything bottled up inside. So, Crystal, you ran to Instagram before you talked to your husband? Like, girl, what is going on? So she's saying that the group wants her to get help, but she has to do it on her own time. And she doesn't want to do it just to make them feel better. She feels like she has to answer to them, and she doesn't like that. She was like, when they act like it's so easy, it just makes me feel like a failure, and I'm not a failure. Now, I'm just going to say this because, I'm not well versed on her disorder, but I want her to do what is best for her, to be the best version of herself for her and her kids. That's all I'm going to say on that. Moving forward. So then Kathy comes over. Hey, girl. And her advice to Crystal is to just do what she wants in her time and don't care about what anybody else has to say. F them, okay? Who cares what they have to say? So that made Crystal feel a little bit better. But then Kathy is like, do you guys have some crackers? And maybe a Diet Coke? Baby, she got Rob running around like the lady that works at the house. When I tell y'all, she had Rob running around fetching Diet Coke and all kinds of libations, honey, so she could make sure that she was not parched or hungry. She's like, I drove all the way here for cheese and crackers. Well, Kathy, they didn't know that you were coming to eat, honey. They didn't have time to get the caviar baked potatoes together. In the next scene, Kyle is at home having champagne for her birthday, wearing her matching pajamas with her daughters. I thought that was cute. Sophia gives her some skates, right? And she's getting her tootie on. Shout out to the Facts of Life. And she was like, yeah, I used to hang out with all the child, actresses of the 80s and the Jackson 5. And I used to have the best time. And she was basically just saying she would always be on her skates. So they sit down to have, her birthday dinner. And I have to say, that's my kind of birthday dinner. Order in at home with the family in my PJs. I love it. I really did. So they start talking about Pharah'S wedding, and she's like, she wants to get married in the fall, but she doesn't want to have a big wedding. She doesn't want to be a bridezilla. Charles Kyle is going to be disorganized. It's going to be a fool. Moving forward. In the next scene, Rina and Erika Jane go to have lunch. So they start talking about her breakdown and how it was good to just, let it out. So she was like, Sutton really triggers me, and she's like, why does she have to say that about you? Baby, what would this franchise do without Sutton and Garecelle to beat up on? What would this season even give? Or the season before that, or the season before that. They always pick a target and then they hone in on them for the duration of the season. Happens every single season. So Erika was like, Sutton was contacted and she never disclosed it to me, but for her to choose to bring it out in front of everyone, I didn't like that. But sometimes she's fun. Here go Rina. Yeah, she is fun, but she flips and she pokes the bear, and she's her own worst enemy. Rina and those lips stay puckered up to EJ's behind. You expected Erika Jane to go full in on Sutton. Then she threw in, yeah, and she's fun. Now all of a sudden, you think she's fun as well? Oh, yeah, she is fun. You are such a follower. Such a follower. She probably wasn't going to say anything, but you call her a liability, so you started it, honey. You get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. Moving forward. So then she brings up the Rina beauty party, and it's 70s themed. The heifers are going to get together. Child on board. In the next scene, Sutton is meeting with Kyle. Why? I am not sure, because Kyle is definitely not Sutton's friend. Kyle goes to meet with Sutton so she can pick her for information. When Sutton says the wrong thing, Kyle then takes that to the next group meeting, brings it up in front of the ladies so everyone can then again attack Sutton. Kyle, I'm on to you. Sutton, I know you want to be liked, honey, but that's going to be to your detriment. These heifers do not mean you any good. Don't meet for no one-on-ones. Don't meet for no half-on-halves. Don't meet for no FaceTimes. Don't meet. If we ain't all together, I don't have nothing to say. And that's that on that. So Kyle is like bringing up what she said about Erika, and Sutton is like, well, she called me a liability and I feel like that's hypocritical. She's like, I thought they were headed in a better direction. And then Sutton just goes and drops this bomb. Why do y'all start at the end? Begin at the beginning. I'm a don't start none, won't be none type of person. Sutton was being cool until Erika made that comment. But of course, you know, it's always Sutton's fault. So I know that you can't really see that. So then they started talking about what she received. And she was like, you know, I don't want to talk about that. You know, they called me to be a third party witness. That's all I'm going to say about that. She's like, but there's a woman in this group causing problems and y'all don't talk about it. All y'all do is defend her. That's it. That's all they do. So Kyle is like, well, don't get defensive when I'm asking you questions. So then all of a sudden, Sutton starts talking about her date. Oh my goodness. They will talk about any and everything except Erika. Anything. In the next scene, it's the day of the party. You know how they like to do, child. They show us the little montage of all the ladies getting together, getting ready. So the heifers are getting ready, FaceTiming and whatnot. And Dorita's at home trying on her skates, right? So PK is like, no, Bubba, you're going to break your neck. You're going to hurt yourself. And she's like, no, I mean, you didn't even give me a chance. Like, at least, like, be positive about it. So she gets up, right? And PK is like, Dorit, no. So her daughter, Phoenix, is like, I'm going to help her. He said, you're not going to be at the party. So she's walking behind her mom, right? So he goes, Phoenix, I'm in charge. She said, you know what? If she falls and breaks her neck, it's your fault because you're not giving her any confidence. I know that's right, honey. You better have your mom's back. Phoenix said, Mom, I got you. You know what? Can we just get rid of Dorit and replace her with Phoenix, honey? Because she was everything. When I tell y'all that was the cutest thing ever, I was like, I like me some Phoenix. More Phoenix, less Dorit. Moving forward. So the party's starting and Crystal and Sutton show up first. Then Cherie and, you know, Erika Jane, Garecelle shows up. Garecelle was like, yeah, I went to Studio 54. This is what she said in her confessional. She was like, yeah, and there was booger sugar on the table. Honey, y'all know what that is. And they asked if I wanted some, and I didn't really just want to say no. So when I went to get it, I spilled it. And they were like, no, never mind. I don't know, Garecelle. Sounds like a sitcom episode to me. Not never mind. I'm like, so they told you never mind, Garecelle? Uh-huh. Okay. This is the best some of these heifers have ever looked. Okay. We need to go back to the 70s. Because they were giving some looks. So Kyle tells them, you know, that she's inviting them to Aspen. And she's telling them how the home isn't big enough. Kyle ain't never got nowhere for people to sleep. They always got to sleep separate whenever Kyle hosts a trip. Kyle, rent out an Airbnb so all the helpers can stay together. So they're like, I'll be in your house. I'll be in the other house. And so they're talking about that. And they're fighting over which house to stay in. And Diana is like, I'm staying at the hotel because I'm a demanding guest. Okay, girl, you won't be missed. So then these dancers come out, and Sutton in her confessional was like, nothing is going to beat Melissa Etheridge, but the solid gold dancers are a good look. Baby, Sutton is shady boots, honey, and I love it. So they all dancing, honey, dropping it down low and picking it up slow, line dancing and whatnot. So Kathy sits down, and she's trying to talk to Garecelle about Rick and the secret to their marriage over on the other side. Kyle is talking to Sutton. And she's asking how she's feeling since, you know, the one-on-one dinner. So Kathy comes over and she interrupts. And she's like, are we still going out? I mean, because you're eating. Kyle is like, please let her talk. Kathy, this is important. Basically, girl, I'm producing a scene, so get lost. Honey, that's what she really wanted to say. And so we're back with this liability thing again. And Kyle is like, what does that even mean? When she says you're a liability, like, what did it mean? Sutton said, I don't know. Maybe you should ask her. So Kyle said, Erika, what did it mean when you call Sutton a liability? She said, you know, her friendship is a hindrance to us getting to know Garecelle. Child, please. Y'all wasn't gonna like Garecelle no matter what, especially after Denise. Y'all were never going to like. Y'all are using that as an excuse to say, hey, Garecelle, we might befriend you. You remember how you were crying last season about wanting our acceptance, we may accept you if you go against Sutton. Are you in or are you out? Child, this is just a mess. It's giving the Heathers, honey. What is happening? So then Dorita's like, at my homeless not toothless dinner, you said she had a lot of lawsuits. It was below the belt. So Rina gonna say, yeah, it was mean. No, it was not. It is the truth. She has a lot of lawsuits. Do y'all know what mean means? Do y'all know what below the belt actually means? You're friends, best friends, with one of the lowest of the low that will hit below the belt in a minute. And y'all saying something that's factual is below the belt? Y'all don't have time to play with y'all. Moving forward. So Sutton goes, no, it wasn't. It absolutely was not. So Rina goes, yes, it was. Sutton said, oh, you're so aggressive. She said, I don't care if I am. I'm not having your back on this one. Have your own fucking back, Sutton Strack. Girl, not the Dr. Seuss rhymes. Have your own back, Sutton Strack. I can't stand them. Sutton, all I can say is, honey, you always telling them how you're such a great punching bag. So, honey, they taking you to town with it, honey. So you get what you get, honey. You allow this, so there's that. So Kyle tells them that last night after the dinner, she's like, I talked to Sutton. So here go, Kathy. Now listen, y'all, before I continue, I don't know if I can continue without hollering, okay? AKA laughing. Now, I'm not laughing at the foundation itself, but I am laughing at Kathy because she is pure D ridiculousness. So she goes, oh, yeah, at the Toothless and Homeless Foundation? Ma'am, quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. Dorita's like, homeless, not toothless? Girl, the name is cringe, honey. And I wish you stop repeating it. I can't stand to hear that name. She's like, it's really an important charity. We didn't say it wasn't important, but the fact that she's calling it Toothless and Homeless Foundation. Child, this is crazy. So Garecelle and Cherie, they're laughing. Well, baby, what they do that for? She's like, Garecelle, you're laughing? Honey, as she should. You should be mad at Kathy, but we know you won't be. She's like, I'm laughing at her, not your charity. So Kyle is like, well, the name isn't amazing. No, it's not amazing. It's awful. So Kyle goes, you know, for the Toothless Not Homeless charity. Okay. I wish they stopped saying his name. Sutton said, maybe they really should rename it. They really should. So then Kathy said, honey, I'm sorry. I've worked with the homeless. I've worked with the toothless. Kathy, please stop. Just stop. Just stop. Oh, girl, not you've worked with the homeless and you've worked with the toothless. Kathy, who in your circle is toothless? Child, I'm not to play with you. No, I'm not about to play with you, honey. Not a toothless billionaire. Oh, honey. So Kyle is like, you have strong feelings towards Sutton. Rina's like, yeah, I do. Rina is fake. Point blank in the period, honey. There's no way around it. So she starts to use grief as an excuse to beat up on Sutton. I understand that you are grieving. I understand that. But that does not give you free reign to just go in on Sutton every time she breathes in your direction. If you don't like the lady, then just remain silent. Don't say nothing to her at all. Because it's coming off as bullying behavior. Dorit, where are you? This is being a bully. What y'all are doing, that's being a bully. Remember you called Garecelle out last season because she was speaking her speech and you didn't like it, so you deemed her a bully? This right here is bully behavior. So Sutton is trying to get something out and Erika pipes up and she's like, and I have a drinking problem. So everybody's just like looking, and so Garecelle leans up and Diana said, you have a drinking problem? Garecelle said, I don't have a drinking problem. Erika said, neither do I, but you tried to push it. Didn't Rina and Dorit also question you drinking with those pills? If you were okay with all that drinking, then why were they questioning it? So Garecelle said, there were so many instances that you were out of control. So Erika is like, you know what it is. We talked about it. Garecelle said, yes. I said you need to figure out your drinking to medication ratio. She's like, yeah, you're trying to push this narrative that I'm an alcoholic. She said in her confessional, it's a narrative, but just because you don't like it does not make it false. That's what you get, Erika, for playing drunk. Now people believe in it. You're going to end up at Betty Ford trying to deflect from the real issues. Why are you pretending to be drunk if you ain't really drunk? Girl, goodbye. So she was like, if I had a problem, you would be the last to know because these people are the closest to me. Garecelle said, oh, trust me. I know. Congratulations. Okay, I'm so happy that all of you are friends. Great. She's like, they would notice and they would pull me aside. No, they would not. You have them shaking in their Giuseppes. They're not going to do anything to go against you. They're deathly afraid of Erika for whatever reason. So she's like, you went to different people in the group and you talked about it. Girl, you want an issue with Garecelle so bad. Anyway, girl, moving right along. Moving forward. Garecelle is like, you made it seem like I'm like, let's get together to talk about Erika. She said, I don't get with these ladies and say something I wouldn't say to you. But I did say that something seems off. So Erika was like, yeah, and that's to make me look bad. Garecelle said, I don't have to do that. You do that on your own, Erika. So Erika said, and you make yourself look like a liar right now. Girl, what are you talking about? See, this is what happens when you come for somebody and you don't really know how to read. Okay, read, honey, not reading. That's fundamental. I'm talking about whether the reading is fundamental in the mix with these heifers, but I'm not talking about that kind of read. You just want to have a problem, honey. That's all. She was like, you just want me to have a problem. Garecelle said, you having a problem doesn't change my life in any way. It doesn't change it for good or for bad. So Erika's like, well, it's my life to destroy. Garecelle said, okay, so destroy it. Boom. Garecelle, now you are showing up. That's what I'm talking about. So then Dorit pipes up to make sure to throw Garecelle under the bus. She's like, Garecelle, you kept saying, don't be Kyle, don't be Kyle, don't be Kyle. And again, Dorit, shut up. So after all that, Sutton is like, Erika, I'm going to be calling you. Erika said, please don't. Sutton, Erika doesn't like you. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how you do it. She doesn't like you. Rina doesn't like you. Kyle doesn't like you. Dorit doesn't like you. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, honey. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Shout out to TLC. The waterfalls would be Erika, Dorit, Rina, and Kyle. Stick to Garecelle. And that's just that on that. So after these heifers get through with that, and Erika made it very clear, please do not call me because I will not be picking up your phone calls. Kathy leans over and she's like, I mean, they're going in on me about Toothless and Homeless Association. Like, what's the difference? I'm going to call you tonight and go. She said, I'm going to call you tonight and go, Toothless and Homeless, Homeless and Toothless. Garecelle said, please don't. I will not be taking your call. Oh, honey. Oh, child. And that was the end of the episode. Oh, child, these hypocrites. Oh, honey, we get together to argue about the same stuff every single episode. But the highlight to me was Kathy in this Toothless and Homeless Foundation. Oh, Dorit was like, well, I never. Honey, and you never will again. Please rename that charity and find something that suits these people. Talking about homeless, not toothless. Child is a fool. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.